Back here on our program, the platform, and we are talking education generally, but specifically we are talking about the graduates in 1966 of Government High School. They've been out of GHS for now 50 years. When you talked about Government High, what came to mind really some of these countries in the world where schools are performing extremely well. In Singapore, Finland, South Korea, places such. And with such a small population in the Bahamas, you would have thought that given our proximity to the United States and the kind of economy that we have, that we should be doing much better. Yes?
I agree. We all agree.
There's no reason why we could not have replicated Government High School in this country.
And
the
at a
reason,
younger age,
the reason why we are falling behind is because what you've said about this elitism. See, we should disabuse our minds that academic excellence makes you an elitist.
But you are about academic elitism, which is a different thing.
Which is a different thing. And
Okay.
it shouldn't, the pursuit of excellence should be seen as a means of moving up the social ladder, increasing your economic powers, not as something to be frowned at, or like I have a grandson who was in school, and in one of the public schools, and to him, when he tried to study, like his prayers make him seem as if he is, let's put it mildly, effeminate or be a sissy to study hit the books.
That he's soft.
He's soft
Yes.
by hitting the books. But that should never be.
It's not cool to be smart.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Remember I told a story about a person who got the 0.5 average.
Yeah.
And he shouted out to his friend, I got a 0.5, and his friend said, I got a 0.8. And the fellow said, well, you must have been studying it. That should never be.
Lots of critical questions, Mrs. Jones. Why is it with the legacy that we have from the government high school, we are not better off, not only in education, but generally in our country? And the reason I would proffer is that we had parents not only who were interested in the fact that we would excel, but they had values. Because you can have all the systems, you can have all the infrastructure, but if you don't have the values that self motivates, then it becomes distorted. Yes, you may succeed, but you may succeed disadvantaging somebody else, or you succeed for yourself, but you don't succeed for the nation.
Yes.
So I think the issue of values and what that meant in that era has been lost. And I would go so far as to say we've abandoned God, and that's why.
In that era, people invested in education in a psychological kind of way. Yes?
Exactly.
Knowing that was one way of being upwardly mobile into what you wanted to achieve.
So we're not sufficiently invested in education.
No.
See, at that time of the transition, and I'm talking about the economic and political and social transition that was happening in the country. And we were there before, but something was shifting. And fortunately for us, those of us who had parents who could afford to pay for us.
£10, 10.
Yes, that's right. And or those who got scholarships, we were able to be a part of that group. Now, I would like to think that the majority of parents at that time, if there was an opportunity for them, some way for them to figure out to get their child into government high, they would. But I could be wrong. But I certainly know in this era now, too many of the parents evenly check in for this issue of quality of education, how that's going to impact the future of their children. And that's in part because the social dynamics have changed a lot. We had a single parent family back then, but I would believe statistically it's significantly higher now. And also, I think way back then, there was a group of people, enough of the parents who valued education and understood how the education could help their children.
Yes.
Things they couldn't benefit from, we could benefit from. So I think that what's happening to us now is that we're not placing as parents, and as a result students, we're not placing any priority, any premium on the fact that we have to push education. And back to the government high.
But if I may, because you said investment, because you see, investment with resources, but also with character.
Yes,
Oh, yes, definitely. definitely.
But
Yes. What do you mean by that, though? Investment with character.
with character.
As I said, the bottom line is values, because, you know, the lawyers say you can't legislate morality. You see, so the same thing that drove us to excel, that if you have character, that goes over into every area.
And that came from our
so
parents.
when you see your fellow man or you see someone, you try to help. You don't try to take advantage of them. You also realize that, as you pointed out at the very beginning, that to whom much is given, much is required. You give back, but not in the self-interested way, like in the United States where you get a tax break. But you give back because you want to build the country, you want to build people.
And that's what we need to focus on. You know, when you go to places like China or Singapore, they have those little children, schools of them, hundreds and thousands of them. In school, from they're like 5, I think we're starting too late. We need primary school education.
preschool.
Preschool excellence.
Yes.
Up to primary school. By the time they get to secondary school, it's already instilled, because the parents are not doing it much.
You get a chance to
Sorry.
verbalize it, but that's fundamental, because you see,
Fundamental,
it's a process, it's a system,
yes.
and you have to start at the
We
foundation.
have to start at
You
the
can't
foundation.
start up here and don't pay attention to this.
Yeah.
So then this is saying something though about how we need to have a new look at everything that's tied in with the educational ecosystem. I would put that word on it as someone from the science field. But if we can look at that, there's so many things tie in with it that we have.
You came out of government high school just about a year before, well, short of a year before January 10th, 1967. And as I said, the political winds of change were moving. What role did you people play, or what was the mood of your graduating class, or the mood of the times?
Well, I definitely was in frontline politics. I campaigned door to door.
And you were 16, 17?
I'm 16. I couldn't vote.
Yes.
Couldn't vote in that election. But I was the majority rule thing was in the air. We had a number of black leaders that we looked up to, and you want to be a part of that. And as I said, I went and knocked on Hugh Sand's door.
I campaigned heavily in the Out Islands.
And in Freetown. In Freetown, I remember knocking on Mr. Hugh Sand's door, who was a teacher at Government High.
So your class then would have been politically astute, politically aware.
Yes, oh yes.
Aware.
You were an exception.
No. What I'm saying.
Zonical, you were in the church, right?
No, what I'm
Not so much the church, but I wanted to go to university, and I stayed on for A-levels. So I was focusing on my A-levels. Plus, it wasn't that I was unaware. I was aware in a different way, because my father was the Secretary General of the Bahamas Federation of
Trade Unions.
Union at the time. So I was politically aware, but my focus was education and how could I make. I realized that I could only make a contribution to the Bahamas if I were educated. I don't know why I realized that so early. And I also realized very early that whatever happened in the Bahamas, most of it transpired outside of the Bahamas. And so that's another reason why I wanted to broaden my horizons.
It's interesting that you said that. And you were doing A-levels in 1966, 67.
67.
68.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Change happened in the first year.
and there were students from other schools that went to GHS
That's right.
for A-levels.
That's
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
yes.
Many, a whole group.
And even for O-levels, like I mentioned Monday, people like Dr. Philip Thompson, Val Grant, Hubert Orlando, they came from St. John's just to do sciences
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they did not have
Yeah.
biology
science
labs and
lab.
chemistry labs at St. John's.
And A levels then was similar to what college prep is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you
Two-year program.
a 2-year
Yeah.
program, and so you went straight into
Yes,
university,
yes, exactly.
and you were credited for the 2 years that you spent in doing A levels.
Not really. I started first year at university. I didn't get credit for that. It's just that I did the A levels. Well, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to the UK or University of the West Indies or wherever. So
I
just
never-
wanted to be prepared.
I never did A levels. I went right into the Wakefield, and it was only my friends were going off to college that I decided, hey, I better go to college too.
Okay.
You know, these people, Norris Stubbs, Carl Brand, Roosevelt, Finlyason, they all had gone off to college, and I said, what am I doing here? I mean, I was able to find employment. I mean, that was no problem, but it was something that because of my friends going off to college that made me say, hey, I better go to college too.
The legacy of GHS, the first 50 years, very powerful. There's still a government high school today. Are you people contributing in any way, shape, or form to imbuing these people with a sense of excellence, the ones who are attending government high school down there in Yellow Elder? Is there anything that your class of 66 is doing, Rosie Finlayson, Ms. Zonico?
Not yet.
Not yet?
We were discussing that, but this is the first time that we've gotten together.
Okay.
So that's exactly what we're talking about. We don't just want to get together to have 3 parties. We want to get together to see what can we do? How can we assist with whichever school it might be? Might not be that government high school, but it might be to the whole education system.
Yes.
So we're thinking about all of this, and this is what we want our legacy to be, that we would contribute something before we're all gone.
Okay.
And if I may, my personal philosophy is you don't do things to just get a sound bite or a photograph. You live the life of giving. And so in your area of work, wherever you can give and make a difference, that's what you do. You just don't say, you just say, okay, but it's because of this and I associate that. No, your whole life should be one where you contribute wherever you are.
I believe that our legacy should be that we should be agitating now to bring back that experiment that worked. The government is now paying millions of dollars to institute the carnival, which we do not know in the future, until time would have passed, if that would work. In the institution of the government high school, we have an institution that worked, and we could do that experiment all over again for the benefit of this generation and for the country. That's my belief, to bring that back.
I would love to.
In this,
And I can just see now the uniform, the colors of the Bahamas, the national, and those persons who would be selected by national competition, where it would be expected of them to pursue academic excellence, and it would be expected of them to prepare themselves for the top positions in civil society.
Rosie?
So I'm thinking at this point, we are attached to that government high school model and so on. But
They're still wearing the same colors, by the way.
still in the same colors, yes. That was then. So I'm thinking that now we really need to focus on a couple of things, because someone had already talked about the primary school and so on. So I think we need to use whatever resources and knowledge we have and networks that we can tap into to be able to help we may want to help some schools individually, but I think that if we could find a way to help from a more national point of view, how can we create a sort of a new focus moving forward about what these schools ought to be trying to do to better prepare people for the realities of today and the future? And I believe that it could be that we, we think we may have some answers, but it could be that we just need to begin talking to people, some people in our group, and widening the group.
And the older people who were before us.
Yes,
Yes.
and also the thing is, we may not have resources to make major leaps or contributions, but we can begin to make some small contributions at various schools and so on, offer some scholarships and so on. But I also think that we should be able to come together almost like a think tank.
Yes.
And have some people document some ideas and present it to whoever the government is in the
Okay,
future.
we have 2 minutes, and you are having a whole lot of fun this weekend. So tell the public what you're going to do, just in these 60 seconds or so.
Go ahead, Lana.
60 seconds. On Friday night, we have a meet and greet. We're going to see if we recognize each other, and we're going to have name tags, because I'm sure some people won't recognize each other.
Okay.
But meet and greet at a home on the lake. It's going to be very nice, just casual and easy. On Saturday, we have a beach day at Adelaide from like 1 o'clock until 11 o'clock till about 5.
7.
Well, 7. You see, they're the late stairs.
Okay.
The DJ has been paid to 7.
And then on Sunday, we go to church, Epiphany Church on Prince Charles.
The
And
Anglican Church of the Epiphany.
The Anglican Church of the Epiphany. Didn't you tell me to say it?
Okay.
And after that, we have a luncheon at the Hilton downtown.
Very good.
And we're going to hate to see everybody go, but over that period, we're going to be talking about what are we going to do now? Just meet every year and have some drinks and some eats? Or how can we contribute meaningfully to what's happening today?
Thank you so very much for being here today. I enjoyed the conversation, as I did on the radio program with the other students of the class of 66, Mike Smith and the other person.
Hamilton Stewart.
Willa Mae Stewart. Thank you so very much for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for watching and listening to our program. Good evening, everyone.